was the 90s. Two Khans came from Delhi to Bombay, Shah Rukh and Samar, and Bombay was never the same again.
Have you ever considered that at any point that you lack a sense of focus?
I'm starting with the truth.
Have you ever had to fire somebody mid-production?
If I had a gun for dumb people, I swear I would have been under multiple counts of murder.
What is the current environment in terms of censorship, self-censorship?
Social media has given a lot of freedom to a lot of people who should not have that freedom.
Where do your confidence come from?
I can do everything. That you should know enough about every subject to bullshit for 10 minutes.
There are some people who like to watch movies, and there are some people who critique them. And then there are people like my guest today, who has done both and then some more. Here's what you need to know about this guy. He's interviewed the stars as an RJ, he's critiqued their films as a reviewer, and then he's made some of the biggest shows on TV and cast them in his own stories. And he's also a die-hard sports fan. For the wrong team, but we'll forgive him. I'm Rahul Puri, Director of Academics, Whistling Woods International, and I have 10 questions for Samar Khan. You made a film called Shaurya, which was an adaptation inspired
and
by
heavily adapted
a
from
few good men.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say that you're a man with a God-gifted confidence to make a classic film like that?
I look at it from a perspective that I got everything that I did in life out of confidence. Even if it's bordering on arrogance, big deal. I don't really think that that's a problem. But somewhere you need to have the thing that confidence has is that you should be able to take the bullshit that comes from you not being able to convert your confidence into something. So if you're okay to take criticism and if you're okay to take failure, then confidence is your biggest asset.
So talk to me a little bit about Shaurya. What was it about A Few Good Men and then something that then converted into Shaurya? What was it that resonated with you?
I think let me just start with the fact that, Shaurya was born out of the fact that as growing up as a Muslim in this country, I never felt a sense of discrimination, ever. I don't think I can ever turn around and say that I was discriminated against. But I always felt a slight tinge that if I ever praised Wasim Akram, it was always looked at as Samar Khan is praising Wasim Akram. But even Rahul Puri is praising Wasim Akram. He's a great bowler.
Sure.
But every time I praised him, there was always this thing of thinking, Acha, you are now praising the Pakistan team. And after the incidents of 91, 92 and 93 when the whole thing blew up, I kind of started figuring that there was a slight amount of distrust and mistrust that came towards the community as such. And I always used to feel that if there was ever a bomb blast that happened in the vicinity, will I be the first one to be picked up because my name is Samar Khan? So I kind of wanted to make a film about that feeling, and because I was in the National Defence Academy, where they threw me out for indiscipline. And yeah, that is how my story started.
What a shock. That is very surprising.
What a shocker, and that's where my confidence came from. That,
Sure.
If the army can't tame me, nobody can. Pretty much.
On to the next question. You went from being an RJ to a journalist, obviously on NDTV, then to a director, then to a film producer, and now, of course, CEO at Juggernaut, handling OTT and documentaries with DocuBay, all of those kinds of things. Have you ever considered that at any point that you lack a sense of focus? Or
I do.
Or is it a sense of, I need to be moving on to the next big thing?
I like doing different things because, like I said, I'm not trained to do anything.
Right.
So maybe I don't have the shackles of a formal education to hold me back. I did my first film, Kuch Meetha Ho Jaye, and the film got made only because Shah Rukh Khan decided to do a guest appearance in it. So I was like, if Shah Rukh Khan is doing my film, I must make a film here. I can't doubt this. मतलब बोल दिया होता है, he'll do a role in my film. और मैं film नहीं बनाऊंगा. Then I made that film. It did not do well. It flopped. And I was like kind of heartbroken, and I wanted to make Shaurya just to prove to myself कि यार मुझे film बनानी आती है. So I just decided कि let me make a second film. And then after I made Shaurya, then life suddenly decided and SRK decided that I want to set up Red Chilli's Idiot Box. So I said, okay, let me head it.
So tell me, what is the trigger? I mean, you say you get bored and you move on to the next. How do you know that you're bored? Is it a feeling?
It's a feeling. I think it's just about saying that it's become routine and it doesn't excite me anymore. The only thing constant in my life is my club, Manchester United. There is nothing else which is constant.
I was waiting for how he was going to plug that into the conversation.
So that's the only thing that is a constant in my life. Otherwise everything else, I like multitasking. I enjoy it. I like the challenge of my mind being at 5 places at the same time. I get bored if I'm only doing one thing.
So you've made a bunch of shows now for
Yeah.
various OTT platforms, various streaming platforms. Talk to us a little bit about the current state of these platforms. And if if somebody's going to be a first-time producer, how do you pick what platform you go to, and what kind of content IP do you think in the current climate has the best chance to get picked up?
What has happened is that everybody suddenly thought that subscription models and Indians will suddenly start paying for content, which was a myth that sadly has kind of died out and it got broken. The subscription model has reached a kind of a peak. So people are now trying to figure out what kind of model will work for a platform business. And everybody is facing that challenge today. I mean, if you look at a Netflix, they did start advertising in America, and that has kind of succeeded there. Over here also Amazon has come up with an advertising supported layer where you can watch ads and you can watch content. So I think for a first time producer currently, it's a really challenging time. It's difficult for me to pinpoint and say that you can be successful, because there are premium series also getting made. There is the 20 episodes also getting made. There are micro dramas also getting made. Documentaries are also getting made. So yes, there is a lot of opportunity, but there's also a lot of clutter. Because what also happened is that during the COVID break, when everybody started to become, and everybody thought that it's going to be like this gold field that we will get a lot of money from. A lot of people turned producers,
Right.
but a lot of people had to shut shop because there were just too many producers.
But tell me something. What you've just talked about there is there was this dream maybe 8 years ago, or 7-8 years ago, that there was a certain kind of content that was being made in film. There was a certain kind of content that was being made in television, and OTT was going to come up with a different kind of thing. If our monetization models are going to almost default back to what they are on TV, doesn't that mean that this dream of a different kind of content on OTT is also going to default back?
No, I don't think so. I think that the model of monetization might change, but the audience will not change. So for example, if a platform wants to do a 25 episoder, and there are people who want to pay for it, and they want to pay a certain less amount of money than the premium content consumer, then they will pay lesser for it. But it does not mean that the premium content consumer is going to go away. A company that thought that they can only survive on pure subscription will have to evolve and say that we will also have to cater to somebody who's not willing to pay this kind of money, but still wants a certain amount of premium quality. Can we provide them that? This is what Apple did. The iPhone was only available to the people who were the ultra rich.
Yeah.
But then suddenly iPhone decided that they want to take out an SE model, which will be much cheaper, but will go to that aspirational guy who wants to now suddenly want to flaunt an iPhone. So the premium streaming platforms are also going down the same Apple route.
Expand their reach.
Expand their reach.
And now for the good old algorithm question. So it's no surprise.
But I gave you the algorithm before that also.
But no surprise, you mentioned it also before.
Correct.
That you've worked with
I beat the algorithm.
and had a good relationship with Shah Rukh Khan. You've been good friends with him. You've worked with him. You made a documentary on him. You wrote a book for him. Having been in such close access, such close proximity to him, tell us a little bit about him as a person. What makes him so special? How has he managed to sustain himself for 4 decades in this business, being at the top of his game, and then moved off into so many other allied areas? Obviously, the KKR franchise is something that comes to mind. What is it about him that makes him different from others?
It's about his confidence and his non-fear of failure. Because those are the two qualities that I have learned and I have imbibed a lot during my time with SRK. I mean, he has the confidence to go for the stars.
Sure.
Because he's not afraid of failure. So these are the two qualities that I think have been his greatest strength, and every decision that he has taken has been backed by that. whether it was to start his own production company, which he did, Dreams Unlimited, before any other actor decided to become a producer.
Sure.
Today, everybody looks at him and says that, oh, he has an IPL team. But when IPL started, nobody gave it even any chance of success.
Right.
The same thing happened when he started off his VFX business.
Correct.
He was the first guy to even start a television business. And a lot of his failures have come from these businesses also. He's failed in many of them.
Sure.
And his confidence in the thing that he always keeps saying, that I came from nothing. So people who come from nothing actually have no fear of going back to nothing.
Do you think that's true?
It is true, Rahul.
Do you think that's true?
It's not that they don't have, nobody wants to go back to nothing.
Sure.
But because they have been there, they know how to handle it.
Right.
If people who are born with a silver spoon, people who did not ever have a spoon know how to eat with their hands.
Sure.
They can figure out life. They can figure out their shit. If you look at the beginning of his career, he worked with every filmmaker who was willing to work for him. Most of them worked, some of them didn't work. Everybody who's starting off in their careers, that at least if you don't have the confidence in yourself, how the hell am I supposed to have the confidence in you? At least confidence to do mere ko that I can.
I would love to be in a room if somebody came to you and said that to you. I would love to be in that
हाँ कि
room.
मुझे शायद नहीं आता है तो मैं I'm like कि भाई तू फिर मतलब.
Which brings me on very nicely on to the next question, which is, have you ever had to fire somebody mid-production? And what were the what are the reasons that
Multiple times.
most annoy you?
Dumbness to start with. I swear to God, during my entire working life, if I had a gun for dumb people, I swear I would have been under multiple counts of murder. And people who are not willing to put in the hard work. That is unfortunately, see, I understand that yes, I work at a certain pace.
Right.
So most of the time it's not possible for people to keep up with that pace. I get it. But what irks me is the unwillingness to keep up with the pace. So yes, I have had many instances where I've had to fire people, mid-production. And I've had the confidence to fire them because I know I can do their shit.
Right.
I come from the trenches. So if you tell me to make a call sheet, I can make it. So don't come and give me a stupid excuse about why can't you make a call sheet. The Adobe is not working. It's a bad example, but you know what I mean. And I just want to break the laptop on someone's head. So people...
Do you find it more prevalent now or less prevalent?
It is more prevalent now because I honestly feel that this current generation, needs to be put into one room and whipped the shit out of. And I'm genuinely saying it. I'm not saying it out of any malice to anybody.
Sure, of course not.
Because they suddenly believe that they own the world. The people who want to work for 6 months and want to take 6 months off and go and visit Bali and do some kind of, self-evaluation and bullshit are not the kind of people who look for work.
Sure.
At least with me, don't look for work. And that is a problem that is prevalent in a lot of the current generation. They suddenly seem to believe that life is easy.
Is there a certain kind of story that if somebody came and approached you with that you would refuse to produce, no matter how much?
No. I'll at least try and give them a reason of why I'm not making it. But I don't think it'll be an outright refusal for any kind of story.
Okay.
I think every story needs to find a space. If we are truly going to have freedom of speech, then we need to be aware that freedom of speech is an absolute right.
Right.
Just because you don't like it, doesn't mean that it should be shut off. Similarly with content, I don't think that there's anything that I will outrightly refuse and say, nahi, ye nahi banayenge. It will be given a hearing for sure. And there will be a reasoning given of why it would not be made. Now sometimes, because at the end of the day, we are in the business of commissioned work. Networks have to commission us.
Sure.
So I have to obviously cater to what the networks are looking for.
Right.
And what they are demanding. So
and if they're willing to make it, you have no.
If they are willing to make it, I don't have a fundamental issue or a fundamental problem with it. But yes, because as a company, we are also governed by corporate governance and things like that. And as a company, we have certain mandates that we don't cross.
Right.
But those are company mandates. And if it crosses a company mandate, I will need management approval.
Right.
Before we go ahead with it.
Have you seen Sayara?
Yeah.
What do you think is the reason that it has resonated so strongly with people?
I went in to see the film really with no expectations. I was like, okay, I mean, I don't naturally gravitate towards the Mohit Suri school of filmmaking. But when I went and saw the film, the boy and girl are really good, and what the film does very brilliantly is that you actually sit down and see the film. You will see that every 15 minutes there is a moment where it's either you're like, oh shit, or you're like, oh wow. So that they've done beautifully. I think the fact that we hadn't had an intense young love story for a while, worked for the film. The last time that we had a really intense young love story was Sairat, which came into Dhadak in Hindi. But that also wasn't an urban film.
Right.
This was an urban love story. The grammar of their life was reflected over here. And like all great love stories, whether it was the launch of Kumar Gaurav or it was the launch of Amir Khan or Salman or even Hrithik Roshan, it's the actors that carry it. It's the stories are pretty much standardized. It's not as if there's some great storytelling.
Yeah.
It's the 15 minutes that you get the emotions, and the actors were really, really good. So I think that's what resonated with everybody.
As an ex-NDTV boy, I have to ask, given the current state of TV news, what is your take on journalism in India today?
I think it's catering to what the audiences are wanting, because again, we seem to forget that when we were journalists, there was no social media. News was purely consumed from the television. Today, news reaches us on WhatsApp before it even can be broadcast on a news channel.
Sure.
So the whole landscape has changed. So it's unfair to say that journalism has faced a deterioration on its quality and things like that, because the world they are competing with is a very different world. So how do you blame TV journalists? How do you blame the whole fraternity of journalism? When they are competing with a race, or they're catering to a race that seems to only go for clickbaity information.
So has TV news de facto, has it become entertainment?
Well, it had no choice.
No, whether it had a choice or not.
See, it's catering to the way people want to consume, which is drama. And it's become more dramatic than what it used to be, because the louder you shout, people seem to believe that you will be heard more.
Correct.
And that is what happens in TV studios. And people who actually go to the ground to report are becoming less and less, because also resources are becoming scarce. To have on-ground reportage, you need to invest a lot of money into it.
Right.
So that's what is happening. It has become a new beast, and I'm glad I left it when I did, because I don't know how I would have adapted or anybody else would have adapted to this new scenario, which is why a lot of the old journalists are also now more on their YouTube channels, because they seem to believe that it's the easier way to get to the audiences.
Sure.
So today, give us a piece of advice. And I have a...
After all this?
Why not?
Really? Okay.
Advice is
You are very brave.
Advice is always good.
You're very brave.
And given what you have said about the current generation, I'm a little worried about this. But anyway, we'll ask the question anyway. How do you think is the best way for a young, recent film school graduate to become a producer or an entrepreneur?
My first question to them would be, first, learn the job. It's very easy to say that I want to become a producer or I want to become an entrepreneur. But what the real world can teach you is not something what a school can teach you. Because producing is all about on-ground experience and handling a real-life crisis rather than a textbook crisis. So my advice to anybody who's passing out of school right now currently is the fact that at least get your hands dirty for the first 5-6 years, understand the business a little more, understand the pitfalls of it, and then slowly graduate. Don't be in a hurry. What's the hurry? And I keep telling this, and I have said this multiple times to, again, to Shah Rukh Khan, is that technically he has ruined more lives than he has built.
Sure.
Because everybody post Shah Rukh Khan seems to believe he can be the next Shah Rukh Khan.
Shah Rukh Khan तो एक ही है.
एक ही है.
Correct.
लेकिन वो सपने जिसने उसको दिखाए हैं ना इतने लोगों को, those dreams are the ones that people come with, not understanding कि भाई काम भी करना होता है. Everybody comes and asks the same question कि सर अच्छा आप इस शो में मेरा क्रेडिट क्या होगा? मतलब I do not want to use the words I use, but I'm like भाई मतलब क्रेडिट क्या होगा? तुम्हारा जूनियर एसोसिएट हो तो वही क्रेडिट होगा. नहीं, but I think I deserve more. अच्छा ओके भाई. You know, I mean, I just finished a show where Shashank was my showrunner. The first time we professionally collaborated. Otherwise, we have always been, you know, in and around the industry. And he is a prime example of someone who started from where? You know, and today is a successful filmmaker.
Sure.
Why? Because he was willing to give in the hard work.
So what is the one thing that you think is most important for the entertainment industry to resolve, for it to grow? What's the biggest challenge for it?
I think every medium is facing its challenges right now. I think for cinemas, we have outpriced pretty much 80% of India from going to the cinema theaters. Because I am okay to eat bad food for $100, but I'm not okay to eat bad food for $1,000. It's the same analogy. From the government, down to the cinema owners, down to producers, down to everybody needs to sit down and figure out how to make cinema going more accessible to people again. That is as far as cinema is concerned. OTT and other such platforms are facing the challenge of how to monetize the content that we are producing to a level where it becomes viable to make more content. So, like we keep discussing that hybrid model of subscription plus advertising, or what should be the subscription price, because we are also competing with YouTube. YouTube is something that is giving you so much of content at pretty much negligible price points. I think as content creators, one of the biggest challenges today, Rahul, is how to find new stories. Because we have made so much of content over the last so many years that it is becoming more and more difficult to find new stories and to find new ways to tell the same story. You know, people say that writers are the backbone of the industry and writers should be given a chance. There is a tsunami of bad scripts that come your way.
Sure.
So it's not as if that, you know, writers don't get an opportunity to present their scripts. Somehow they, I don't know, maybe I'm not capable enough of reading those scripts, or those scripts are beyond my IQ level. But most of them don't seem to fit. So now...
So are you saying that there's a mismatch between what's being written and what the audience perhaps wants, or what the platforms perhaps want?
I think a lot of writers are writing in isolation. Because writing is nothing but world experience. So we need to find more writers who are at least coming from different kinds of social backgrounds, who have had different kinds of experiences that they can bring onto their scripts. You know, so I think there is a huge gap in finding the right content, and the reasons could be multiple for that.
And so, what is, as a sort of parallel to that, what do you think? What do you think are the big opportunities then?
The opportunities are in the fact that people today want more content. What we as a company today and what me as an individual today are trying to say that we tell stories from 3 minutes to 3 hours.
Right.
So everybody is now adapting to this new kind of storytelling formats that are emerging. And somewhere I think people need to get over their obsession with about just कि मुझे film बनानी है. There are other forms of storytelling. There are other kinds of formats of storytelling. And everything is respectable, has its position, can make you money, can provide decent employment to you, and give you respect. And it doesn't have to be just films.
Some people are an acquired taste. I think to my huge benefit over the last 17 years, you certainly have become an acquired taste. And I'm extremely grateful for it. Thank you very much, Samar.
Not at all. My pleasure always. And like I said, Rahul, I mean, Whistling Woods has a very special place in my heart. You know, and Meghna has a special place, Subhashji for being who he is, you know, and you have a very special place in my heart. I mean, despite your football club, I still love you. I still love you, and I'll be back anytime that you want, and it's been a pleasure, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
for any Gen Zers who are feeling triggered, please go and seek therapy. Samar is a powerhouse of a producer, a man who thinks a lot about the challenges and the opportunities that face the entertainment industry. One of the best producers and have the privilege to work with. Unfortunately, he has a bit of a terrible taste in football. But if you are a Man United fan and you want to send him some hearts on social media, please go follow him, and perhaps the two of you can collectively wallow in what was the misery of last Euro. If you like more of this, be sure to follow me, as I will be interviewing more such people about the real world of entertainment and taking their insights on what goes behind.